fathers of youngsters, fathers of oldsters. They're all here today getting ready to watch some baseball at Citi Field. What a perfect day for a ball game. At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball today, and the Mets play the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field, and a happy Father's Day to you. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez joins me in just a moment as the Mets and Angels play the rubber game of their three-game series. It's been quite a series so far as the Mets began a stretch of 15 consecutive games against the American League. On Friday night, Chris Capuano matched up in a pretty good duel against Joel Pinheiro, an old Mets nemesis. Pinheiro got the better of the duel, but the Mets were down by a run in the ninth when Jordan Walden, the fireballing closer, came in for the Angels. He walked a couple, but then he settled down and with a nasty slider struck out 3 in a row and sealed the deal for the Angels, a 4-3 victory in the opening game of the series. Then last night, Mike Pelfrey was on his game. Retired the first 9 Angels to face him, and he was terrific all night. And while he was hurling, the Mets were sprinting. 4 stolen bases, and all 4 of them came around to score. And then the big blow in the game, a monstrous home run by Carlos Beltran onto the Shea Bridge, his 10th of the year. And Pelfrey then put on the finishing touches. A 5-hitter, a complete game for Pelfrey, the first 9-inning complete game by a Met this season. And the Mets had themselves a 6-1 win and even the series at a game apiece. And in beating Dan Herron last night, as Pelfrey got the shaving cream pie, in beating Dan Herron last night, the Mets now have had a remarkable run of beating outstanding pitchers going back to Gallardo in Milwaukee and Morton in Pittsburgh and Jurgens and Hudson in Atlanta. The Mets have been winning games against awfully good competition.
Well, we all know they're banged up. They're missing their 2 corner infielders. The starting pitching has just held up wonderfully. The bullpen has been good. Frankie Rodriguez has been good for the great majority of the season. But offensively, they can steal bases, and I think last night was pretty indicative of a Met win. They don't hit home runs. They nickel and dime you with their offense. They utilize their speed. They clearly upset the rhythm of Danny Herron. And, you know, Jurgens was a guy they'd beaten last time in Atlanta, a guy that owns the Mets, and they riled him up and got him nervous with stolen bases. So the Mets, although they don't have power, they can beat you with speed.
Now, the Mets have been getting great starting pitching just about every day, but the hottest pitcher for the Mets over the last 6 weeks has been John Neese. He goes today.
Well, if you recall, after 3 starts, his ERA was well over 6. And his last 6 starts, he's 4-1 with an ERA of 1.58. And he is 6-5 on the season, and he has really, I think, become the ace of this staff, and this youngster has really come a long way.
And on the other side, an even younger pitcher, 21-year-old Tyler Chatwood, a rookie, goes for the Angels.
Well, hard thrower, big curveball, throws a lot of ground balls, 15 ground ball double play outs. That's second most in the major leagues. A little bit wild, young kid, 21 years old.
So 2 young pitchers, Neese and Chatwood, going after it on Father's Day in New York. Enjoy your day with Dad. Enjoy the ball game. Mets and Angels coming up on Pix 11. Cruze. Find the Cruze and 9 other Chevy models with 32 MPG at ChevyOffers.com. By Dunkin' Donuts. To get dunked, go to getdunked.com. That's GETDUNKD.com. By Metro PCS. Right now, get $50 off any phone when you add a line for just $35 a month only at Metro PCS. By Bank of America. By your tri-state area Volkswagen dealers. Visit BWDealer.com. And by Bad Teacher in theaters June 24th. Voting is open for the 2011 All-Star Game in Phoenix. Help send your favorite Mets to this year's All-Star Game by voting up to 25 times at Mets.com. Cast your ballot now for your 2011 All-Stars. Vote often, vote today. Vote Mets at Mets.com. John Neese happy making his way in from the bullpen with Dan Warthen and Josh Tolley getting ready for his start today. He's been the best pitcher in the National League over the last month and a half. We'll try and keep it going today on Dad's Day in New York. First pitch coming up from Citi Field. Here's your starting lineup brought to you by Bank of America. Mark Trumbo, who hit his 12th home run last night, in the lineup tonight. He had the only run against Mike Pelfrey. Trumbo, big, strong right-hand hitter, hit one over the 415 mark last night. It's an Angels lineup that's just 11th in the American League in runs scored. They've relied on pitching to win the games they have this year. They're 4 games under 500.
And Jonathan Neese, 15th start of the year. We told you in the open how strong he's come, and he has just pitched outstanding and has not given up 2 runs, more than 2 runs, in 9 of his last 11 starts. And the walks are coming down. He's throwing that curveball with much more confidence and throwing with more velocity. And he has just really been fun to watch. And we'll take a look at the defense brought to you by Audi Truth in Engineering, and it is the Metropolitan defense. And Josh Tolley, after a couple nights off, is back behind the plate. And Murph back at first base. It's been kind of musical chairs there. Tejada is back in the lineup at second base after a day off. Turner back over to third base.
Mike Scioscia in his 12th year as skipper of the Angels. They were under 500 last year, 80 and 82, but they made the postseason 5 of the previous 6 years, going to the ALCS 2 years ago. This year, they're 4 games under 500, in danger of a second straight losing season, but he has had a tremendous run as manager of the Angels.
Yeah, he's one of 4 major league managers in the history of Major League Baseball to play 1,300 games and over 1,300 games and manage over 1,300 games.
Keys to the game brought to you by Cadillac. Visit Cadillac.com to find a dealer near you.
If it was only this simple. Dominant starting pitching of late. Yes, that's absolutely true. And keep on running. Yep, please. Reyes gets on. Mets win. Take advantage of the rookie starter. Yes, he's a little wild. They can get the ball up.
Outstanding job. You were very emphatic about all those keys. Myceris Turris leads off. Nice's first pitch, a fastball for a strike, and we're underway. Is Turris 3 for 9 in this series, hitting at .286. A better right-hand hitter than left. Gets to swing right-handed here and takes high 1-1. Mets throwing 2 lefty starters in this series. The Mets will face 2 lefty starters the next 2 games when Oakland comes in on Tuesday night. And Nice throws to the outside corner, and his Turris fouls it off 1-2. Is Turris playing third base these days? Alberto Callaspo, who's played most of the third, is got a hamstring injury. He pinch hit last night, but unable to go out there and play every day. And his Turris pops one up into shallow center. Out goes Tejada. Late start for Pagan, and it lands in between. And his Turris is aboard with a pop fly single. I don't think that Pagan ever read that ball off the bat, and by the time he started in, it was way too late.
Well, we'll take a look at the shadows. You see Pagan, the shadow, a little bit to his rear, so the sun is directly behind home plate. Tough Sunday today. Recall, Gary, in Old Shea Stadium in late September. The month of September, was a horrible sun field. But the field is a little bit shifted.
Yeah, the sun field here tends to be right field more than center field. Here's Eric Ibar, the shortstop, 0 for 7 in this series and hitting just .157 over his last 14 games. And up there to bunt, and bunts it. And it goes, well, I think
it hit him. Did
it hit him?
Yeah.
Okay, because Tolley was waiting for that ball to roll fair, hoping to have a play on him.
I think it bounced up and hit him. Yep. Definitely got his left leg, I should say.
Makes sense that Mike Scioscia would have Ibar bunting because he's hitting just .190 as a right-hand hitter. Try and build a run in the first inning with Torrey Hunter on deck.
Plus he hits, he's hitting .190 against lefties.
And he pops up the bunt attempt, and Justin Turner has it for the first out of the game. So Ibar unable to get the job done, and that leaves us Turris at first with 1 out. Mike Everett calling the balls and strikes today. Mike McClinsky, Chris Guccione, and the crew chief Mike Winters on the bases. Here's Torrey Hunter, 4 for 8 in this series. He's also grounded into 18 double plays this year.
Boy, you wouldn't think.
18.
That's awful.
In 72 games. I mean, he's on a pace to ground into over 40 double plays, which is a stunning number. He's Turris at first and 1 away. And Nice misses up and away 1-1. John Nice over his last 6 starts is 4-1 with a 1.58 ERA.
It's incredible. He has just been that good.
That's the best ERA in the National League over that span.
Well, we all knew always knew he had guts, and he's taken some lumps in his first couple years in the big leagues.
Goes right between the wickets on Josh Tolley, and down to second base goes his Turris. Well, Tolley's had his problems stopping balls this year, and this one got right between his legs.
It's going to be a wild pitch, but you see the poor glove work there, and they can't backhand. You've got to get in front.
And they call that a pass ball, and rightly so.
I agree.
Mets have had more pass balls than any team in the majors, and you understand that to a certain extent because they have a knuckleballer on their staff, but they've had too many pass balls even with the conventional pitchers on the mound.
Oh, threw it by him.
Good fastball by Nice, and it's 2-2.
Wants to come inside and gets it right down the inner half. Coming out throwing hard. A little up with his pitches early here.
And throwing fastballs early, not mixing in the curveball early in the game. Down to third base, and Turner has it. Looks the runner back and throws out Hunter, 2 down.
Well, Josh is a very aggressive catcher as far as calling pitches. He likes to call number one, likes to call pitches inside, pitch aggressively in.
Well, Nice's last start in Atlanta, he threw 39 curveballs, the most he had thrown in any game in his career.
Well, he had it working. I guess like we talked last night with Pelfrey. You know, when you got something, the hot hand, and you feel good with it, then go with it. And he had such a great curve.
Pelfrey said last night, hey, if my curve's working, that's great. It's my worst pitch. Wells pokes it into right field for a hit. This tourist comes around third, and he'll score the first run of the game. And the Angels go in front 1-0 as Vernon Wells, who's been in a season-long slump, takes one the other way for an RBI hit.
Well, his intent here, you can see his swing, is to go to the opposite field. And that has too much plate. That is right down the middle. And that's how you go the other way.
First run of the game brought to you by the all-new Chevy Cruze. Find the Cruze and 9 other Chevy models with 32 MPG at ChevyOffers.com. Here's Kendrick. And he takes the breaking ball low and inside. So there's the first curveball that Nice has thrown. Kendrick 2 for 7 in this series. Well, the pass ball by Tolle costing the Mets a run.
Now, pass ball makes it unearned if he gets this out, correct?
Well, if he does get the out, right. And Nice missing away 2-0. The Mets now have 16 passed balls, the most in the majors. The next closest is Toronto with 11. And it's been both catchers, but primarily Tolle, who has really struggled. He's had 9 of the 16. Out to center field, hit well by Kendrick. Back goes Pagan to the warning track to run it down. So Kendrick gave it a pretty good ride, but Pagan able to track it down, an unearned run for the Angels. Check out the Mets starting lineup brought to you by Bank of America. 1 day off for Ruben Tejada, but he's right back in there. Jason Bay's hitting 4 straight games now. Signs of life. Carlos Beltran, a bomb of a home run last night, as the Mets try and keep the good things going against 21-year-old Tyler Chatwood.
Well, in 2008, the number 2 draft pick for the Angels. Big curveball. Throws hard. His problems are that his running fastball that runs away and upstairs, he has a hard time commanding.
Jose Reyes on base twice last night with a single and a walk, 2 steals, 2 runs scored. A big time Reyes kind of game. Leading the National League in batting at .343, leading in hits with 102, leading in triples with 12, leading in multiple hit games with 35. Need we go on?
No, go on.
I will.
Next pitch.
Second in runs scored with 53. 9th in slugging percentage. This is the one that intrigues me for a non-home run hitter. .522 slugging percentage.
Well, that's the 20 doubles and the 12 triples.
35 extra base hits in all. Reyes the roof indeed. 2-2 now to Jose with Turner and Beltran to follow.
I'm very anxious to see this youngster's curveball. They say he's got a terrific curve, this Tyler Chatwood.
Now, he had a real bump in the road in his last start. He faced Kansas City a week ago. 3 2/3, 5 runs, 5 hits, lost the game 9-0. In fact, they pushed him back a day. He was going to go Saturday, and Herron was going to go today. But Mike Scioscia flipped them to give Chatwood a little extra rest coming off that bad start. 2-2 to Reyes, pokes it to shortstop, and Ibar is there to throw him out, 1 away.
And we'll take a look at the defense, brought to you by Audi, and it, again, truth in engineering. And that is the Angel defense. And how do you pronounce that name, Gary, again?
That's Borges.
Borges.
Gorgeous.
He is quick. He made a terrific catch in the, excuse me, it is Audi. I made my mistake. I stand corrected here. I get confused. Borges has made a terrific catch in center field up against the wall off of a bat of Paulino. And he can play.
Just remember, the truth will always be the truth in engineering or whatever.
That's right. It's mathematics.
Justin Turner hitting at 280, 1 for 6 in this series. He's been drawing some more walks the last few games. 6 walks in the last 3 games, only 11 walks prior to that.
Well, he's been impressive in the number 2 hole in the lineup, and he situation hits wonderfully. He goes the other way naturally. He knows how to get a runner over, but his intent is to drive in. But he handles the bat well, and I tell you what, he's done a good job at third base, which has not really been his position.
Takes one the other way toward the right field corner, and that's an extra base hit for Mr. Turner. He's on his way to second, and he pulls in there with a 1-out double. Justin Turner with his 11th double of the year.
Well, I just said he goes the other way nicely. There it is right there. Ball on the outer half of the plate. We've seen them pepper that opposite field line there. A nice player, isn't he?
He impresses you more and more every day.
Hey, some decisions to make when Wright comes back and starts playing third.
Well, it's going to be a while. David was out taking ground balls on his knees today because that's all he's allowed to do. So he's still many weeks away. Here's Carlos Beltran, who had that long home run to the Shea Bridge last night, and he takes the curveball for a strike.
There's the big hook right there. And you see Carlos look at him. Okay, yes, I see you. That's where he hit the bomb last night on the bridge.
Watch out those pedestrians. Don't want to be caught unawares.
That was a rocket launcher.
One of the longest home runs hit since Citi Field opened.
You see, this guy is going to have a hard time this guy, Chatwood. And you see Carlos's numbers this season. He's having a terrific year. 43 RBI. We're not at the halfway mark. He's on a pace for 100 RBI.
Now the 1-1 and the curveball down. You were going to say Chatwood was going to have a hard time.
Throwing inside. Chatwood's going to have a hard time throwing lefties inside. He has a natural run away against left-handers. So his zone is the outside corner. I can see from the first at bat with Reyes, he likes to run that fastball away. Put that in the back of your head. If you're a left-hand hitter, you're going to get in 6 pitches. You're going to get, I guarantee you, 4 fastballs away.
Only 6 feet tall, very small for a right-hander. Throw to second by Mathis, and Turner gets the hand back.
Well, Mathis, what an arm there! He threw off his knees like Paulino.
He's been always considered a terrific defensive catcher.
Just off his left knee.
Now Chatwood behind on Beltran, 3-1 with Murphy on deck. And it's outside, ball 4, and the Mets have 2 men on. So Chatwood, who came into the day tied for 5th in the American League in most walks allowed, walks his first in this game. And now Murphy will come up with 2 men on.
Well, he's a typical young pitcher that first time through the order, opponents are hitting 346. Second pass through the order, 216, and then the rest of the game, 273. So he's a young kid that has to get his rhythm. So as an offensive unit, you want to go out and get him early.
Here's Murph, who's 2 for 9 in this series, and he pokes one foul.
So you can see right now the predominant amount of pitches that he runs that fastball away to left-handers. That's his bread and butter. And if you're paying attention in that dugout, that's where you're sitting.
And because his fastball's got some movement to it, he gets a lot of ground ball double plays. He's had 15 of them already this year in a double play situation here. A ball and a strike to Murphy.
You see the third baseman over there, Meiser, is Turris playing away in the hole, and I agree. Murph hits the ball down the line, it's a double anyway. Take away the hole. Murph hits that, sprays that hole between short and third. So you definitely want to take that hole away from Murph. I mean, how many balls? I mean, Murph uses the whole field, but how many times does Murph hit the ball down the left field line? Not very often. So you take away the percentage. You're playing percentages. Plus, you've got the shortstop right there holding Turner at second base.
Now the 1-2 from Chatwood, and Murphy fouls it off. Murphy's hitting cleanup for the 14th time this season, and not for nothing, but the Mets are 10-3 in games that Murphy has hit cleanup this year. Certainly not what the Mets had in mind when the season began, but it's working right now. And the curveball hit toward the middle. Ibar with a nice stop. The backhand flip, and they turn the double play. Well, Eric Ibar has been very impressive with the glove throughout this series. Makes the nice stop and starts the 6-4-3 double play. The 16th that Chatwood has generated this year. 1-0 Angels after one. What a play. Second inning, 1-0 Angels. Mark Trumbo leads off against John Neese and takes a curveball for a strike.
Well, he hit a bomb yesterday, too, opposite field in between the Geico and the Xerox sign out there in the 415 area of that ballpark in right center.
Not too many right-hand hitters hit into that part of this ballpark. Saw Alex Rodriguez do it a couple of years ago. But that's usually reserved only for a big-time lefty slugger.
That's impressive power opposite field.
But Trumbo had 36 home runs in AAA last year, so it's not a huge shock, and he floats this one into shallow center for a base hit. So for the second straight inning, the Angels have a soft hit, and Pagan had trouble picking it up, but Trumbo holding it first. This was yesterday.
Well, he came off the bench. He didn't start this game, and in 2 at-bats, he went 2 for 2 with this home run. And that was the one hit that robbed Pelfrey of a shut piece. Complete game shutout.
Here's Peter Borges. Went 1 for 4 in the opening game of the series. Sat last night as they used Bobby Abreu in the outfield. Abreu, who's normally the DH, got to play left field, and Borges went to the bench.
Do you see how many strikeouts Borges has?
Yeah, he does. 68 of them.
Good Lord.
That's 7th in the American League, up among, guys who hit home runs. But he is a gifted center fielder, and a guy who can just fly toward the middle, and a base hit for Borges. Trumbo around second. He'll hold there as Pagan gets to this one quickly and handles it cleanly. So back-to-back hits by the 6 and 7 hitters to start the second inning against Neese.
All on fastballs, and I think that John's going to have to start mixing it up a little bit. Start throwing mixing the breaking ball.
He's only thrown a couple of curveballs so far, and
has not looked as sharp with it. Maybe he didn't have it in the bullpen. And staying away from it early.
What a beautiful day. I always remember playing in the 80s, Gary. That would be June. It would just be humid, sticky. You know, the weather changes, you know.
Just wait. We'll get there. It's Jeff Mathis, the catcher, hitting just 195, the number 8 hitter. By the way, the pitcher Chatwood on deck has never had a plate appearance in his professional career. So we have no idea what to expect. Probably he doesn't either.
He was going to go to UCLA, evidently.
Ball and a strike to Mathis. Well, he was a second-round pick. The Angels didn't have a first-round pick that year in 08.
That was because of the Torrey Hunter trade, correct?
Signed him as a free agent.
Right, the free agency.
So they got Chatwood in the second round, gave him big second-round money. He's overpowering Mathis with his fastball. A cutter, anyway, 1-2.
He's a little up with his pitches early. You know, he's pitched so wonderfully, and we mentioned the numbers of the last 6 starts, the ERA 1.58. You just can't, you know, you got to have a glitch sooner or later. Otherwise, you're going to have a year like Tom Seaver or Greg Maddux, Lincecum when he won the Cy Young the first time.
Well, but for a young pitcher, one of the tests is when you're not at your sharpest, can you hold your team in there?
Right.
And lately, he has been doing it brilliantly.
But what he's got right now is an 8th hitter hitting under 200, and you got a pitcher up next, so he can get out of this.
He and Tolley having some trouble getting together.
Some fancy finger work by Tolley. Jeez. Awful quick.
That curveball's just not working early in this game for him. And it's 3-2. He's been so sharp with it the last few starts.
As a hitter here, you got a pitcher doesn't want to walk you. Pitcher up next. Walk the bases loaded. It's a favorable count.
3-2 to Mathis, and he fouls off the fastball. By the way, the official scorer ruled that run in the first inning earned.
I don't understand that one.
Yeah, I don't either. Apparently, he's saying that had the pass ball not occurred, his tourist would have taken second on a ground ball to third. But you have to figure Turner would have thrown the ball to second, right?
Well, Turner would have fielded the ball entirely, struck him out.
Mathis down on strikes. That's the first down of the inning.
Turner would have fielded that ground ball, which was a high chop, much aggressively. He would have gone after that ball to get the lead runner, and he should have got the lead runner.
Well, the official scorer today is Jordan Spreckman, he's a Columbia guy, so, you know, I might have to get his alumni privileges canceled or something.
Ivy League, I tell you, they get in the way. Do more damage than good.
Here's Tyler Chatwood, the pitcher. First professional plate appearance, never batted in the minors, hasn't batted in the majors. 21 years old, and let's see if he can bunt. He lays down the bunt. Murphy's going to have to go to first with it, so Chatwood successful. 3-4 on the sacrifice. He's been practicing.
Yes, he has, as he should. Well, Murph is always charges nice. I like the way Murph charges bunts. Kind of did. He didn't lay the bat out there. Watch him. The bat's at an angle, and he kind of stabs. That's not proper bunting. But he got the result. Did enough.
Mets were running the wheel that time with Reyes covering third. So 2 in scoring position for his Turris, and he bounces the curveball foul. His Turris hit a pop fly single to center and came around to score in the opening inning. Nice has gotten so tough with runners in scoring position this year. It's one of the reasons he's had so much success. He's been able to work around innings like this.
Well, it's a very simplistic word for that. It's called guts, and that's what you want to find out when you're pitchers. You want to find out if they got the guts inside, and Nice does. I knew from day one that you know, when he was getting beat up, you still had to go out and get him. He's just come so far.
0-2 to his Turris, and he just got a piece. Eric Ibar would be next. Oh, 2. And the curveball bounced foul.
Well, they always give the balls away today, and I remember when I got called up as a rookie in '74, Dick Stello was the first base umpire, and I went back for a pop-up that I missed, and I got it, I rolled, and I picked it up and gave it to a little boy down the right field line at Busch Stadium, and Dick Stello said, you know, next time you do that, I'm going to have to fine you $100. I go, why? He goes, you're not supposed to give away the balls. I go, you're kidding. It's a $100 fine, so I never did it again.
Changed about 20 years ago. They started encouraging players to give the balls away. Here's the 0-2, and Turris fouls it back. I guess it costs them a little more in baseballs, but they make it up in goodwill.
A mere bag of shells.
Turris hanging in there on 0-2 with 2 in scoring position. And he holds up on the curveball, and it's 1-2. Mike McClinsky, the first base umpire, giving him a pass.
Well, good eye by Turris, but a good 0-2 pitch. Anytime a hitter checks swings on that, now he's got to be thinking, okay, he's got a good curve. He's 1-2. He's still way ahead. It's anything he can do anything he wants.
And he comes inside, hits him with the cutter, and so the bases are loaded.
It's not what he wanted to do there. He kind of aimed at this one. He didn't really let it loose.
Just got a little piece of him. The fourth batter that Nice has hit this year. And Dan Warthen's going to take a trip to the mound before Nice goes after Eric Ibar. So it's been an uncomfortable beginning to this game for John Nice. He's given up 4 hits and now a hit by pitch.
Well, guy like Nice, if you're the Angels, you got to get him early. John gets his rhythm. He can be lights out. Ibar, not a good right-hand hitter, struggling against lefties. It's a favorable matchup for John.
Dan Warthen says his piece. Tomorrow morning, no matter what time you get up, your news, your traffic, your weather will be waiting on the Pix 11 Morning News weekdays from 4 to 9 a.m. on Pix 11. Next time I'm watching news at 4 a.m., I think will be the first. Bases loaded, 2 down. Ibar tried to bunt and fouled out his first time up. And hits the first pitch sharply down the line for an extra base hit. Trumbo is in. Borges is in. Turris being waved around. He scores. It's a 3-run triple for Eric Ibar. And the Angels lead 4-0. So Ibar, who was hitting a $190 as a right-hand batter, takes one the other way for a 3-run triple. His 4th triple of the season.
Well, the Mets have been burned on 2 base hits here, all 4 runs on 2 base hits hit to opposite field. Wells to right field, and now this one. That's good hitting right there. That's a fastball up. I said I was a little concerned about John getting his pitches up. And there's a belt-high fastball on the outside corner.
Now Torrey Hunter, who grounded out to third his first time up. So he was ahead on his Turris. Couldn't put him away, hit him with a pitch, and Ibar makes him pay, driving in 3. Is that for you, Keith?
That's not my phone. I have no idea where that came from. That's not my ring. Gary, maybe it's for you. Maybe it's the president.
Which one? Swing and a miss, and Hunter is down on strikes to end the inning. Second strikeout for John Nice, but it's a 3 spot for the Angels, and the Mets have a 4-run hole to dig out of. Text Dad to 77944. So the Mets try and fight back against Tyler Chatwood, down 4-0. Angel Pagan leads off the home second.
This is the kind of game right now where you come in and you get Nice and you go, okay, John, we got 8 more innings up at the plate here. You just shut him down right here. We'll get you back in this ball game.
Got up to 257 on the year. He was hitting 159 when he went on the DL, so he's gained almost 100 points now. Hitting 337 in the 22 games since he returned. Jason Bay on deck, and then Josh Tolle in the second. And Chatwood having trouble throwing strikes. It's 3-0. And this was part of the scouting report on Chatwood. You wait him out, he'll get himself in trouble with walks. And he walks Pagan to open the inning. So after being handed a 4-run lead, he issues a 4-pitch walk. Already his second in the first 5 batters. Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, understandably a little perturbed.
Well, you got a team giving you a 4-run lead, and you want to run a goose egg up there. That's his 40th walk in 76 innings pitched. And that's one of the stats I used to always look for, was if a pitcher had innings pitched, had 80 and he had 40, then I was going to get some pitches to hit.
Here's Jason Bay, who's now hit in 4 straight games, 7 for 17 over that span. It's all singles. He's gone more than 80 at bats without an extra base hit now.
And it's early in the game. If Pagan gets a jump, start steal. You go. Get on your horse. That's a run. You get him in. It's a 4-1 ball game in the third.
Mets ran wild last night, 4 stolen bases, and they all came around to score.
Pagan has just been like last year. He's got 11 stolen bases, only been caught 3 times. He's very efficient.
Question is, what kind of move does Chatwood have? Aaron had a very long delivery to the plate last night, and the Mets took advantage. 1-1 to Bay. Josh Tolle next. Ruben Tejada behind him. Bounced over the bag, and that's a foul ball. Wow.
Barely.
Very, very close. Mike Winters, the third base umpire.
Let's see. Correct. Close.
Mike got it right, though. And no argument from Chip Hale, although he would have liked it to go the other way. 84 at bats without an extra base hit. I guess the question is, does picking up singles, ground ball hits, line drive hits ultimately translate to him starting to hit with a little more authority?
Well, we talked about it last night, Gare.
And Bay down on strikes as Chatwood got him with the fastball, 1 away.
It's we talked about it. It's not so much what the scorebook, what the papers say, the 2 for 4 last night. Bay swings right through a fastball. It's how Bay feels. If he's hit the ball hard, I mean, like I said last night, you can go 0 for 4 and hit 4-line drives, and the papers say, you know, your slump continues when you know that you're on your way out. As opposed, you can go 4 for 4 with 4 bloopers, and you say, I'm still deep in the woods.
Well, Jason had some positive things to say last night after the game, which was really the first time he has. Snap throw by Mathis, and just getting back is Pagan. So Mathis liking to throw the ball around. That's twice already in this game.
What did he have to say in the paper? I didn't see
just
the
that it was the best he'd felt.
Okay, well, that's good then.
In a long time. So the thing that's interesting to me, though, is that he's just not hitting anything in the air. Not hitting anything that would have a chance to be a long ball, where you get some backspin and, you know, hit a long drive. And I mean, the guy's a 30 home run hitter, and I guess the question is, where's that lift gone?
Well, I think in this ballpark, he's not going to be a 30 home run guy. I mean, you think it's just too big a park. It's not Fenway. Fenway was beautiful for him, but certainly you would think 20 plus, wouldn't you?
Tolle hits it the other way, a base hit. And so the Mets have 2 men on. So Josh, who didn't play the last 3 games, gets to hit his first at bat. And the Mets have first and second and one out.
Well, Josh always goes the other way nicely. And this is kind of a good matchup for Josh. Like I said, Chatwood likes to throw away to lefties.
So now Ruben Tejada got a day off yesterday. He'd been playing every day, and Barry Collins felt as though his bat had slowed down, and it's there in the numbers. He's 0 for his last 15. He's hitting well over 300 for a while, now at 274. So we'll see how he bounces back after a day of rest.
I don't know what the first baseman Trumbo is playing in. If Tejada wants to bunt, and you got a right-hander that's going to be able to fall to the first base side, you're kind of in nowhere's land, and you're creating a hole. He's right here, and this is a nice hole that Tejada likes to hit through. Play back, cover more ground. You got a pitcher up next. You don't turn two. You got the pitcher up next. You're out of the inning.
It's in at the knees for a strike, and Chatwood gets ahead 0-2.
In this Angel team, we had a stat where they have the fourth least amount of errors in the American League, but they have not played good defense in this series.
They've made 3 errors in the 2 games and had a number of balls fall in that perhaps shouldn't have. And Tejada goes down on strikes. So all fastballs from Chatwood to take care of Tejada, 2 away.
Well, he got caught in the second strike looking for a curve, took a fastball for a strike, and this is what they've been doing to him now. They've been pounding him in.
So Chatwood has his second strikeout, 2 out and 2 on it. Now John Neese, 3 for 30 this year. That 100 batting average is the best among Mets starting pitchers. He does have 1 triple this year. That came as a pinch hitter.
Way shallow in the outfield. Gosh almighty, look at Wells in left field. I know Borges likes to play shallow, but Neese has got some pop. Even Hunter's playing shallow.
I guess they haven't seen the video of his triple.
I would not play this shallow off Neese.
And Chatwood running that fastball away, and it's 1-2. Two on and 2 out, and Neese takes a call, third strike. So Chatwood, 3 strikeouts in the inning, works around a walk and a base hit. We go to the third. Ralph Kiner joins us when we return with the Angels up 4-0.
Not only is bunting after a no-hitter, he's after a perfect ball game. Struck him out! A perfect game! A perfect game for Jim Bunting! A Phils and Jim Bunning.
Wow. One of them days.
One of those Father's Day days, huh?
Oh, yes, sir.
And the man holding the microphone, Ralph Conner, is with us. That's a great Father's Day memory, Ralph.
Well, the one thing about that is the fact that there's a long story to that. I'm going to tell you about that. Bunning pitched the perfect game. It was his seventh. He was the seventh pitcher to pitch a perfect game. And there's been 20 perfect games that have been pitched.
What a great stop by Reyes, and he got him! Oh, man, what a play by Jose Reyes. As he throws out Vernon Wells. What a great play.
He made a terrific play on an up hop here and a strong throw. Now, Wells thought he had a base hit, didn't really bust out of the box. That takes nothing away of Reyes with that play. And that's what you get right there. You forget who that shortstop is. Look at this. Up hop, too.
What a great stop by Reyes.
And the arm.
Well, the one thing about this is that he didn't run the ball out at full speed, but he did put it on at the end. And a great play, of course, by Reyes.
No, he busted out of the box. I'm wrong. That's just a heck of a play.
Then he makes a more routine play on Howie Kendrick. So 2 pitches, and Nice has 2 outs.
One thing about Reyes, he not only can field the ball, he has great range, and he also has a great arm.
We were talking about Bunning, Ralph.
Well, getting back to Bunning, there's a real good story about that. He puts that perfect game, and we tried to interview him. It was the first game of a doubleheader, and I sent Joe Gallagher down there, our producer of the Cutler's Corner show, and he couldn't get Bunning to go on. Bunning said, "No way." He said, "What do I get if I go on?" And he says, "Well, you get nothing. It's part of the doubleheader." And he said, "Well, I'm going on." Well, finally, he did convince him, because he said that the broadcast is also going back to Philadelphia, and the Philadelphia Phillies fans could see the perfect game there. So he finally did go on, and of course he talked about the game and what have you, and then that was it. And then after the game was over, he was on the Ed Sullivan show on Sunday, and Ed Sullivan paid him $1,000 to go on his show, and he got nothing from the New York Mets and television.
Reyes makes all 3 plays in the innings against Trumbo, and he'll lead off in the bottom of the 3rd with the Mets down 4.
I almost got a $100 bill from your corner, Ralph.
Not in that way.
Brought to you by Lincoln on the 2011 Lincoln MKX.
Now, Gary, there's another part of that story. When he pitched the no-hit, no-run perfect game, of course, the crowd was going crazy with the whole thing, and Stevenson struck out for the final out of that game. a woman came running out of the stands, running on the field, and threw her arms around him. And Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson were standing up in the broadcast booth while I was on the ground doing the interview. And Bob said to Lindsey Nelson, "Is that his wife?" And Lindsey said, "I certainly hope so."
And Bunny had a whole passel of kids, right?
He had 8 kids, I think, at that time. He might have had more after that.
Perfect guy to throw a perfect game on Father's Day.
Perfect. It couldn't have been nicer if you happen to be a Philly fan.
Boy.
But I'll tell you one thing about Bundy. He was some tough pitcher. He was a sidearm right-hander, and he would knock you down anytime he thought it was necessary, and that was a lot. He was mean as he could be. And he also was in the House of Representatives in the U.S. Senate. He is now retired from that job.
3-2 to Reyes. Well, he started out with the Tigers, right? And I think he
had a great
pitched a no-hitter for them.
He's the first guy to pitch a no-hitter in each league.
Reyes hits it out to left center. Borges on the run, and he'll get there. 1 away. Borges likes to play shallow, but he's got the speed to pull it off.
He reminds me a lot of the center fielder the left fielder for the Yankees, Gardner. The same kind of run. They're extremely fast.
Here's Justin Turner, who doubled down the right field line his first time up. One of 2 hits for the Mets so far against Tyler Chatwood. Mets have been pretty successful against rookie starting pitchers so far this year. Still trying to get the measure of Chatwood, even though he's been a little wild. That's before today have faced 5 rookie starting pitchers and have a .343 batting average against that group. They faced Vance Worley of the Phillies twice. They faced Ivan Nova of the Yankees, Mike Minor of the Braves, and Anuri Rodriguez of the Astros. And now Chatwood.
I tell you, he's really been a real surprise for the New York Mets. And as you saw when his first at bat here with that double down the right field line, he has very good power to right field. He's had 26 runs batted in his last 30 ball games, not counting this one.
1-2 to Turner, and it's low and away.
When Wright comes back to play third base, you wonder what's going to happen to Turner and also Pagan. They're going to be involved at second base.
Ibar throws out Turner. Well, you got Turner, you got Murphy, and you've got Tejada. All of whom are going to be competing for one spot once Davis and Wright come back.
Well, it's a good thing to have when you got qualified people to play a position. I like his attitude. He's got a fun attitude. He loves to play baseball. I think he's going to be a real good major league ball player.
He's hard nosed too. He takes out good slider and taking out guys on double plays. He plays the game right.
Beltran walked his first time, and he takes 2 strikes.
So we talked about this young man, Chatwood, how you get to him early in the first pass through the order, and he gets tougher as the game goes on. And here he is in the 3rd inning right now, second pass through the order, and he's had a 1-2 inning right now, looking for a 1-2-3.
He's had a lot of work to do so far in this ball game. It hasn't been that easy.
Gets Beltran with a foul tip to end the inning. 4 strikeouts now for Chatwood. 4-0 Angels. 4-0. He'll face the lower third of the Angels batting order. Peter Borges, Jeff Mathis, and the pitcher Chatwood. The Angels got a run in the first inning thanks in part to a pass ball, and then they put up a 3 spot in the second. Corners in against the speed of Borges, who has 8 bunt hits and 17 infield hits this year.
In at the corners. Pretty much straight up. Slight shade in the outfield to right field.
Ralph, back when you were playing, was there ever any talk about the leagues playing against each other in the regular season, about the thought of interleague play?
I would say there was never any conversation whatsoever about the leagues playing interleague baseball.
Borges with a leadoff hit.
It all is a modern day thinking, and now they're talking about going to 15 teams in each division, which is also something that never was brought up. Of course, they want the divisional baseball with expansion. And an interesting thing, the expansion was in 1961 in the American League. And the persons that were going to have the expansion team in California and Los Angeles were Bill Veeck and Hank Greenberg. I was involved with that thing at the time, and O'Malley came in and said that you have to pay damages to us and increase the amount of money, and et cetera, and et cetera. So both Hank Greenberg and Bill Veeck pulled out. They were going to hire Casey Stengel as the manager of the team. Of course, he came from Glendale, California, which is a suburb of Los Angeles. And that was going to be the thing. And at the same time, they also had negotiated rights for radio rights with the California team being exposed to radio. And they had that with KMPC, a radio station, a big one in L.A. And in the getting of the rights, they had talked with a fellow named Reynolds, who was a 60-minute player in 3 consecutive Rose Bowls by Sanford Indians. And a guy named Stan Sparrow was involved with that. And Gene Autry owned the radio station. And that's how Autry got in the ball, and he was the original owner of the new expansion club that was in California with the Angels. They played their first year in Wrigley Field, a minor league ballpark, very similar to the Wrigley Field in Chicago.
And I think most of us are probably most familiar with Wrigley Field in Los Angeles from Home Run Derby, because that
was where the Home Run Derby was played, and they had short fences, very short, 345 in left center field and 345 in right center field, which is your power alleys in baseball.
Chatwood drops down the bunt, and so he's got 2 successful sacrifices in his first 2 professional plate appearances.
Well, very fortunate sacrifice there. That was a parachute. Nice did not get a good break on that bunt.
So 2 out and a runner at second, and for Nice, who's been so effective at preventing runs from scoring with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, he has given up 4 runs today with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Vernon Wells, a 2-out hit to plate the first run, and then Eric Ibar, a 3-run triple to bring in the next 3. Borges at second with 2 down. He's going to score on any hit to the outfield with his speed. And his Turris takes the curveball down, and Nice has not been able to throw that curveball for strikes at all.
Well, we've been spoiled over his last 6 starts. He's been that spot on, and he's just showing he's human here. It's just a game where out of the gate he's struggled with his command.
Really funny, isn't it, how baseball works sometimes? You got Mike Pelfrey last night, for whom the curveball, as he puts it, is his worst pitch, able to throw that pitch effectively all night. And you got Nice the next day, for whom the curveball is his best pitch, and he hasn't been able to throw it at all. It's crazy. And so relying on his fastball, he gets the check swing strike on his Turris, 2-2.
And he's been up today with his fastball.
Well, Nice has had a very good amateur background. He's been one tremendous pitcher in high school, and he has that background behind him. And he likes the fastball. He really does, but he has that good curve.
And his
he
tourist
thinks
went
that's
around.
his strike.
Yep, he did. And that's the inning.
Boy, it's almost an automatic ring up today.
Third strikeout for Nice. Mets will come to bat in the bottom of the fourth, still down 4-0. Day 2011 at Citi Field. Lots of fathers and sons and fathers and daughters all around the ballpark. Great day for dads and kids to be together on a nice sunny day at Citi Field. Kevin Burkhardt has Father's Day off, and in his spot, Eamon McEnany is with us. Eamon?
Well, Gary, thank you very much. And some very obvious displays reminding you it was Father's Day earlier today in the Mets clubhouse, including the T-shirt being worn by Jose Reyes, which is being sold here today at Citi Field. So I asked Jose the influence his father had on him, also named Jose, and he said his dad was his biggest fan, was his biggest coach, and was always there for him. He said the one piece of advice that his father gave him that has stood with him to this day is keep your head up and play your game. And then he told me, Gary, that he called his dad earlier today to wish him happy Father's Day, but more importantly for him, to thank his dad for always being there for him and helping him become a major leaguer.
So many major leaguers tell similar stories.
Yep.
Thanks, Eamon.
No question.
You know, there have been 2,000, there is right now 2,030 people named Jose Reyes in the telephone books around the United States.
And how many of them could play shortstop?
No one like Jose.
The Mets actually had another Jose Reyes in spring training a few years ago. He was a catcher. So we had to start calling the real Jose Reyes Jose B. Reyes. Jose Bernabe Reyes.
That's right.
Pagan walked his first time up. Well, the Mets got 4 base runners, the first 7 hitters against Chadwood, 2 hits and 2 walks. But now he's retired 6 in a row, so what Keith was talking about earlier is starting to come to fruition. If you're going to get this kid, it's best to get him early.
And then this changeup right there is his third pitch. That's a work in progress for this young man.
There was a person that lived in Mexico that went to a Dodger game, and his name was Jose Reyes. And when he came back after going to that game, he had a wonderful time. They said, well, how did they treat you? He said, oh, they treated me wonderfully. And he said, in fact, they even sang a song for me. He said, it went like, Jose, can you see?
God pops up to Ibar for the second out. Mets' upcoming schedule is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Mets will entertain the Oakland Athletics Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then head to Texas to take on the Rangers for 3, and then go to Detroit to play the Tigers for 3 before coming back to play the Yankees.
After that road trip that they had, Gare, as Bay steps in, fouls one off, all those late flights they had to fly in that last road trip, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and home, they get an off day tomorrow, and it's going to be a good off day for the team.
A decompression day. Bay drives one to right, but right at Hunter, and that's the 3rd out. So 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Chatwood. He's retired 8 in a row, and we go to the 5th on Father's Day at Citi Field with the Mets down 4-0. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best-selling values in America.
Well, Jonathan trying to right the ship here. Gave up 4 runs in the first 2 innings. Has 2 zeros up there, the 3rd and the 4th. Just trying to stop the bleeding, keep his team close.
Eric Ibar has provided the biggest hit of this game, a 3-run triple. Hit it down the right field line to clear the bases in the 2nd inning. Well, Nice probably needs to harken back to the game Mike Pelfrey pitched against the Pirates here, when he gave up 7 runs in the first 3 innings. Threw up a couple of zeros to keep his team in the game, and the Mets were able to rally for it. It's not going to happen every day, but at least you know this team has the wherewithal to have a game like that.
I remember that game, and I remember in the 5th inning that Terry Collins, I thought was going to pinch hit for Pelfrey, and he told him to go back out there and chew some innings up. And I thought that was a good message right there.
Curveball in on the hands of Ibar, and a wild throw by Turner, and he's safe at first.
Well, Turner is sort of nonchalant at the throw over to first base, and that's when you make a high throw.
This is where he makes his errors at 3rd, Ralph. You're right. He just kind of always a throwing error and overthrow. 2nd throwing error I can recall now at 3rd base, and they're all routine ground balls.
And I think he totally misjudged the speed of Ibar as well. That's a ball you have to fire, and he just kind of, made a routine throw, because Ibar can really get down the line. So a leadoff base runner for the Angels. First error of the game, and now Torrey Hunter, who was grounded to 3rd and struck out 0 for 2. I guess this was inevitable, but Edwin Rodriguez today resigned as manager of the Florida Marlins. They are 1-17 in the month of June.
That has to be, I mean, there's no records probably, but I'm very curious how this team will finish. It's got 2 more weeks, less than 2 weeks, 10 days in this month. And I'm just curious what the record is for the worst record in any month in Major League history.
Brandon Hyde, who was the bench coach, is taking over as the interim manager, but only temporarily. They're looking to replace him or, give him a more permanent title pretty quickly. And in the reports we're reading, they are floating the name of Jack McKeon again. Jack's 80 years old.
He's been around a long, long time and has done a lot of managing in the major leagues, and a very, very good baseball man.
Now, of course, that formula worked for the Marlins before in 2003. Jeff Torborg started the year as the manager. He was fired. They brought in McKeon in the middle of the year, and he led them to the World Series and championship.
And they beat the Yankees.
He's a New Jersey boy, McKeon.
There's the standings right now in the East. And
the
Phillies
were flying high and giving the Phillies a run, and now all of a sudden they're nowhere.
Again.
And the Phillies are starting to open up.
Hunter hits one into center field, and he has a base hit. Ibar circles second. He'll head for third, and Pagan drops the ball. Boy, he's had a tough time.
But he was better off dropping the ball and keeping the runner at first base. He was about to throw to third, which allowed the runner at first base to go down to second. So actually it was a break for the New York Mets that he didn't catch the ball perfectly.
And out of the box, Hunter made a big turn at first base, so if that throw had gone to third, he would have advanced. He knows he's got a single. He's going to come around the base.
He was on his way, and then he picked the ball up and after he dropped the ball. So a break in the way for the New York Mets, although there's no one out.
But it's been a difficult day for Pagan in center field. Normally so sure of himself. Right back to the first play of the game when he didn't break in on the ball hit by Asturias.
The Mets are going to concede the run here, and I agree. Take the double play and Carrasco up in the bullpen. Concede the run, get a double play.
Wells hits a bullet into center field. That'll bring home a run. And Neese getting tagged in a way we haven't seen in a long time. Ibar comes in to score, and it's 5-0 Angels.
And it's going to be a short afternoon for John here. I got to believe that this will more than likely be his last inning. He is the third hitter next inning, and he's got to get out of this one.
Meanwhile, Vernon Wells with a pair of RBI hits, and the only time he was retired was on that great play by Reyes, diving in the hole and throwing him out. So Wells, who's had such a struggle this year, having himself a good day at the plate. And it's 5-0 Angels. Here's Howie Kendrick, who's fly deep to center and grounded to short, 0 for 2. Still nobody out in the inning. And Terry Collins is on his way out, and Neese is gone. So John Neese, who had been so splendid over his last half dozen starts, will have a short afternoon today and exit after 4 innings plus.
Well, happens to the best of them.
So DJ Carrasco will come out of the bullpen for New York. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Metro PCS. Right now, get $50 off any phone when you add a line for just $35 a month only at Metro PCS.
Well, I guess he was due for
in long relief for New York.
Well, DJ back up from a stint in Buffalo, and I think it's pitching much better. His first appearance since he balked in that run in the final game in Atlanta, that last game of the road trip.
First man up against him, Howie Kendrick, with 2 on and nobody out. Kendrick 0 for 2. Well, Carrasco had pitched 2 innings the day before, remember, in the rain-delayed game in Atlanta, and pitched brilliantly in that game.
I think he's throwing much better. He did not have a good spring, didn't get off to a good start. His stuff looks a lot crisper since being called back.
And there's a breaking ball for a strike. He was talking about the fact that he was hurt during spring training. He had an injury to his side, and it caused him to compensate by shortening his stride, but he has gotten his stride back to where it was, about a foot longer than it was before, and it seems to have straightened him out. Comes from the side and he misses. This is what we saw with DJ during spring training. He can come at you from any arm angle. That's with a better road record than home record. One of the few big league teams this year that does. Mark Trumbo, the power hitting first baseman, is on deck.
That is a number right there. You always think of a power hitter, don't you? 44, Hank Aaron, Reggie,
Willie McCovey.
Yep.
Well, number 4 was gone. They used to be the big number.
Yep. That was your home run hitter, Mr. Kiner, number 4.
And the numbers on the uniforms that were originally set up by where you hit in the batting order. If you hit first, you hit number 1. You hit second, you got number 2. If you hit third, you got number 3. Babe Ruth hit third, he was number 3. Gehrig hit fourth, he was number 4.
Well, you would have thought that Gehrig would have hit third and Ruth would have been the cleanup hitter. Huh, Ralph? I mean, they're both great hitters.
Well, they're both great, but Ruth had hit anywhere he wanted.
Well, so could Gehrig.
He could probably hit third, fourth, and fifth. Trumbo takes a strike.
Gosh, talk about 2 left-hand hitters, and you're right in the middle of your order.
And you wonder why they built that short porch at Yankee Stadium.
That's why they did. They were smarter than a lot of people because Babe Ruth could hit, both those guys could hit the ball over that real short right field fence. Was 290 something. Forgot what the number was. He 297 or 6,
I think. Yeah, for years.
Yeah.
I have
a very low fence on top of that.
I've got a baseball book at home. I'm in Florida. It has a picture of Gehrig in exercise shorts, and he's got dumbbells, and that's all he's got on in his shoes. And he was a tank.
He went to Columbia as a football player.
Jeez, he was big and strong.
He really was.
Trumbo with a chopper. Murphy will make the play to first, and that's the second out as the runners advance.
I know that's a tough play for a right-hander, but you always want to try to get the lead out. If you got a left-hander, it's so much easier to throw to second base. Now, if Murph wants to get the lead runner, which he can, the back runner here, he can get him. But he has to do the complete pivot to make the throw. If you're a first baseman and you got the throw, you're left-handed, of course. It's the easy throw to second base, and you haven't got another runner in scoring position.
And also, he didn't have time to get inside the line, so he would have to throw the ball right over the head of the base runner.
Here's Peter Borges with 2 in scoring position. He's already 2 for 2, and can't discount the idea that he might try to bunt for a hit here, because that's a big part of his game. And yet the corners are back. See how much he chokes up on the bat there.
You're right.
He does think about the bunt, and that draws him in.
Good call, Garrett.
When you got a guy that fast, I think you always have to respect the bunt, even though the situation doesn't necessarily cry out for it.
Well, he's brought Turner in now and Murph, so he's succeeded in getting himself a little more hole between first and second and third and short.
Burgess's dad was briefly a big leaguer with the Giants back in 1980.
Well, there's two Angels that are sons of ex-major leaguers. Andrew Romine and the Mets, of course, have two, and Scott Harrison and Ike Davis.
Andrew Romine's dad, Kevin, played briefly for the Red Sox. Outfielder. Here's a 2-1. And it's popped foul back and out of play.
Seems like there's a lot more offspring from former major league players that are in the big leagues today.
There are right now 22 of them on major league rosters.
Never used to be that.
Leaguers.
Never used to be that much. You know, Dad was always off playing ball. Couldn't take the kids out and teach them how to hit.
Yeah, but the whole thing, there's a little more money out there to get when you're young, too.
It's a family business.
That's right.
Reyes throws out Borges to end the inning, and so Carrasco comes in, gets his 3 hitters. But the Angels add an unearned run and lead 5-0. At its best. Well, Adam Lind is taking up where Jose Bautista left off. Bautista's been cold with the bat, and Lind has been hitting the home runs lately, including a big one in Toronto's win over the Reds yesterday. Justin Verlander, a threat to throw a no-hitter every time out, and Prince Fielder just keeps hitting bombs. As the Brewers in first place, although they're getting routed early by the Red Sox today. Gallardo gave up 6 runs in the first inning at Fenway.
And we talked about how the Mets have beaten aces, and they killed Gallardo in that last road trip in Milwaukee.
Josh Tolley had a base hit to left field his first time up.
Milwaukee's 25-9 at home this year, and 2 of those L's were attributed to the Mets.
In fact, the Mets handed them their first home series loss, I think.
Mets always play Milwaukee tough in Milwaukee, and then they go to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh always gives them trouble in Pittsburgh. It's hard to figure.
You know, when you look at the number 30 right there, you got to think of one man that was in the worst trade the Mets might have made in the history of the game of baseball. And one of the players came from the California Angels, and the number 30 was worn by Nolan Ryan. He went to the California Angels, and Jim Fregosi came to the Mets. Fregosi at one time was an outstanding shortstop. Started his career with the Boston Red Sox.
He was a good hitter, 300 hitter. Had some 300 seasons. He was a Bay Area kid in San Francisco. Went to Sarah High School, where Barry Bonds went. Greg Jeffries. Lynn Swan went there.
When they asked Jeffries who his idol was, he said, and no one ever think he would say this, Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb was maybe 100 years before him.
a good sense of history, if nothing else. Totally on with a walk, and Ruben Tejada the batter. Of course, when the Mets made the trade for Fregosi, it was part of their never-ending quest to fill a hole at third base.
And he played third base, and got hurt in one of his early games.
They had gotten Joe Foy the year before, which was also a bad trade when they traded Amos Otis to get Foy from the Royals.
And Joe Foy was on a drug that almost everyone knew about but the Mets.
Bad scouting. And then the year after they got Fregosi, the Mets also traded for Bob Aspromonte, and he didn't work out either.
He was a shortstop and a good one for the years.
Year after year, the Mets kept trying to fill that hole and making bad trades to try to do it.
And that hole existed from day one. And the first opening day third baseman was Don Zimmer. He played for the New York Mets, and he was originally a Brooklyn Dodger. And Zimmer got in trouble with injuries and what have you, and the Mets had him, and he opened the season at third base for the Mets.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think he went about 0 for 33, and then he got traded.
I think you're right. It was around 30. Right around 30.
Well, there are some notable Met third base trades. The last one, well, that was a good one. That's got Howard Johnson and in the deal for Walt Terrell, whom they had gotten with Ron Darling from Texas.
And Amos Otis was an outfielder they tried to convert to third base.
Borderline strike to Tejada, who's had a few of those lately. It's 2-2. I remember that early in the '69 season. Amos Otis played some third base before they made that deal.
He was an outstanding outfielder.
He had a great career in Kansas City. 2-2, and Tejada hits one toward the middle. Ibar flashes over, makes another knockdown, but he can't make the transfer to throw the ball to second base. So it's an infield hit for Tejada.
Like you said, Garrett, put some glue in that glove. He gets to it, and it's the third time now that he's had a ball off his glove. Oh, he had it. He just couldn't get the exchange.
But he made a double play on a similar ball in the first inning on a ball hit by Murphy. But now Tejada snaps an 0 for 16 skid with that infield hit. And Willie Harris will come up to pinch hit as the Mets try and fight back here in the fifth. Tyler Chatwood, in his 3 prior starts before today, had never had a single run of support scored for him. So here he's got a 5-0 lead, and as Ronnie always says, for these young pitchers with a lead in the 5th inning, this is like D-Day, trying to get that inning to qualify for a win.
Well, should have been a force out there.
Boy, you'd be a tough scorer.
That's a base hit, don't you think?
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule that in there.
Yeah.
But I think that
it definitely was. I would say base hit. He made a great stop.
I think Ibar makes that play 95 out of 100 times.
Willie Harris just 2 for 25 as a pinch hitter. Hitting .224 for the year.
He was a tough pinch hitter against the Mets. Also made some great defensive plays.
Yeah, great late inning glove against the Mets. Reyes on deck. Harris pops one up. Shallow left center. And Wells takes charge. 1 away. So Chatwood gets the first down here in the 5th. 75 pitches. He threw 82 in his last start when he got knocked out in the 4th against Kansas City. And now Reyes 0 for 2 today. Just 1 for 9 in this series. He's grounded out and flied out. 0 for 2.
Interesting how they're shading Jose to left center field. Look at the center fielder. I have not seen a center fielder shade Jose to the opposite field.
I could never do that.
Gives it the idea they're going to pitch him away.
Yep, pitch him away, play him away.
Well, he's not really a home run hitter. He's hit 2 home runs to right field.
But he hits a lot of triples to right center and down the right field line.
And Vernon Wells likes to play a shallow left, does he not? That's only 371 behind Wells out there, and that's shallow.
Boy, he really is shallow. Yeah, he's got more power than that. And then right center, it's 415 feet.
Well, Borges had him played perfectly as Reyes hits the curveball to him, and that's the second out.
Well, the one thing you want to do when Jose's up at the plate is make him hit the ball in the air. And that's when Jose goes bad. He starts hitting the ball in the air. He's had 2 fly ball outs today. I mean, he has been so red hot for so long.
So after the Mets got the first 2 men on here in the 5th, Chapman gets a couple of fly ball outs, and now it's left to Justin Turner, who has one of the Mets' 3 hits today, double down the right field line in the 1st. Turner's been the Mets' best with runners in scoring position, 405 this year.
Look at the first baseman, Garrett Trumbo, over there. He got 2 outs, play deep. You got a guy that goes the opposite field. You don't need to turn a double play. Play as deep as you can to cover more ground. Keep the ball in the infield. Trumbo just likes to play in nowhere land. I mean, it's fine where he's at, but you got 2 outs. Play back another 10 feet.
Well, as shallow as the outfield is, it'd be tough to score from second base.
And Tolley at second, not fast at all.
Gosh, good curve.
And he got the call, 1-2.
Well, they said this kid had a good curveball, and he does.
And a good sinker.
Nothing wrong with this pitch. That's a good spot.
That's a perfect pitch. There's a curveball right there. You know, the terminology of baseball has changed so much. What was used to be a slider is now a cut fastball.
Two and 2 to Turner, and he lines one to right, but overcomes Hunter, and the 9-time Gold Glover snags it for the 3rd out. So the Mets get 2 on, but leave them stranded. We are through 5. The 5th inning brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best-selling values in America. 5-0 Angels. Away to Washington, D.C. July 29th through the 31st. Meet players, get game tickets, hang out with Keith, travel accommodations, and much more. Call 718-577-5055 or visit Mets.com/amazing-getaways to book your trip now. I was only kidding about the Keith part.
That's right. Well,
Manny Acosta comes on to pitch for the Mets in the 6th inning.
Gorgeous day. You look at Manny's numbers. Just called up from Buffalo, 5th game.
And his last 2 outings, he's thrown 1, 2, 3 innings, including the opening game of this series.
He got out to a shaky start, and I like his stuff. I mean, he's a good middle reliever.
Jeff Mathis is 0 for 2, struck out and fouled out. And he takes the fastball high from Acosta. And Tyler Chatwood is out on deck. So Chatwood able to live through the crisis in the 5th inning, and he's now gone his required 5 innings to try and get a win. Hit deep to left, right down the line toward the pole, and that ball is out of here. Jeff Mathis with his 2nd home run of the year, and he stretches the Angels lead to 6-0. Well, left field is not an easy place to hit a home run, but he found the right spot right down the line.
He pulled it. Fastball, too much plate, down. Well, right down the pipe.
Right down the middle.
Ralph.
Right down Broadway.
Start salivating.
When you see something like that, you know the catcher went, oh no, as the ball was hit.
Thank gosh the pitchers make mistakes, because if they didn't, some of them, there'd be no 300 hitters.
Jeff
You
Mathis.
know what Ted Williams said, the pitchers are smart, nobody would hit.
And a base hit for the pitcher Chatwood, his first major league hit in his first official major league at bat. He had never had a professional plate appearance before today. He laid down sacrifice bunts his first 2 times, and now he has himself a hit, and he's a 1,000 hitter as a professional baseball player.
Better quit while he's ahead.
Wow. He's having himself quite a day, working on a shutout on the mound, 2 sacrifices and a single at the plate. Manny Acosta off to a rough start. And here's Myceres Turris, and he rips one. And a great stop by Murphy, out at second, and Reyes the return for the 3-6-3 off the bullet hit by his Turris. Nicely done by Murph.
Watch Murph. Don't watch the throw, folks. Watch Murph after the throw. He just left the screen. He throws, and once the ball's out of your hand, and I did a lot of the 3-6-3s, and I realized finally after around 5 years in the game that once the ball leaves my hand, I can't guide the ball anymore. So make sure to throw and then get back. And Murph does a nice job there, and that keeps the pitcher out of the play. Nice play, Murph.
Boy, but that was a real shot right there. And he would say, here's somebody in the ball club say, he's a family man. Get him out of there.
Especially on Father's Day.
That's right.
Well, Acosta fooling nobody right now. He's given up 3 bullets. But he's got 2 outs. Yeah, so he goes off speed with Ibar, and it's 0-2. Ibar has the biggest hit in this game. He tripled with the bases loaded in the 2nd to drive home 3.
And there was a 2-out triple. That was the hard part about that.
First ball, fastball hitting, too. Fastball away, bound belt high.
Right after the pitching coach had gone to the mound.
Whenever you got a pitcher struggling, you just want a first ball, fastball hit. If you get a fastball, do not pass.
And Acosta strikes out Ibar on 3 pitches. Tolley makes the toss to complete it, and that ends the inning. But the Angels tack on a run on Jeff Mathis's 2nd home run of the year, 6-0 in the 6th. Lincoln and the 2011 Lincoln MKX. The Angels got a run before the Mets could blink thanks to a pass ball. Added 3 in the second, and they were off to the races. John Neese got knocked out after 4 innings plus today as the 21-year-old rookie Tyler Chatwood has survived a few early base runners.
Well, the Mets had 4 base runners on the first 2 innings and did not get them in at all, and he's settled down ever since.
Mets had another chance in the 5th when they got the first 2 on but couldn't move them. Beltran has walked and struck out today, 0 for 1. Mets have had just 3 hits against Chatwood, who's looking for his 4th big league win, the 4th youngest player in the major leagues.
Who is the youngest ever playing them on the major leagues?
Joe Nuxhall, right?
Joe Nuxhall. He went to sign his dad during the war, and they liked the way Joe pitched. He was 15 years old, so they signed him instead of his father. And that's what.
Is that right?
What? Yeah.
Are you kidding? I never heard that story.
That's true. Yeah. And the thing about Joe was that he got beat. He got clobbered, as a matter of fact. But still the youngest player to ever play in the major leagues.
Beltran aboard with a leadoff walk, 4th walk for Chatwood.
That's a tall order for a 15-year-old.
I think he pitched 1 game. I think he didn't come back till about 3-4 years later.
I think you're right. Yeah. And he also was a very good hitter.
And had a great long career as a broadcaster also after his playing
good guy.
Team with Marty Brenneman in Cincinnati.
He had a saying, he rounded third and headed for home.
Here's Daniel Murphy, who's 0 for 2. And takes a fastball strike.
The Mets are going to mount a comeback here. This is the inning to chip away and get a few.
Chatwood about to throw his 90th pitch. And the curveball swung and fouled. 0-2.
Most of your rallies start with a walk, and that is what happened here in this inning.
Well, the Mets have now drawn 3 leadoff walks in this game, but they've yet to score.
One thing about Murphy, he'll chase that ball down there over and over and over again. Usually the hand comes off the bat, the top hand, and that is no way to hit.
Good pitch.
For years they tried to sell that, but in tennis they put 2 hands on the racket, they hit it harder.
Well,
and it goes the same thing with baseball.
That was part of the Charlie Lau, Walt Reniak.
Charlie Lau and Reniak are the 2 guys that neither one could hit.
Ted Williams just hated that batting style.
Well, Ted was in spring training all the time. He could have gotten to maybe the world's reddest hitter. And taking all the information from him, and they go to Reniak. Actually, Charlie Lau wasn't with the Red Sox at that time. And Reniak would say, take your top hand off the bat.
Murphy hits it out to Borges, and that's the first out of the inning. Well, it all started with Charlie Lau because he worked with George Brett and had such good results.
And George didn't say anything. George was a great hitter.
George said that he only incorporated a few ideas into his swing from Lau, not entirely.
He was probably he and the outfielder Gwynn came the closest to hitting 400 of all the late people in baseball. After Williams was the last to hit 400 when he hit 406 in 1941.
Angel Pagan is 0 for 1. Let's check in with Eamon McEnany for more on Angel.
Well, back to the Father's Day theme, had a chance to talk to Angel before the game, and he was telling me that when he was growing up, he promised his dad, Angel, that he would make it all the way to the big leagues, and he feels he owes his professional career to his father. But, Gary, I found it interesting. He said the biggest memory that he has and biggest piece of advice that he received from his father that sticks with him the longest was right before the birth of his daughter, when his dad told Angel, look, this changes everything. Your most important job now isn't being a baseball player. It's being a father and remembering all the responsibilities that come with that and raising this child.
Well, Angel video chats with his girls almost every day, no matter where he is. They're back in Puerto Rico. And he has taken his responsibilities as a dad quite seriously.
He takes everything seriously. He's a Good man.
He's one of the best athletes playing baseball today.
So, Keith, what was the best advice your dad ever gave you?
Don't give up your day job.
My dad had the best advice. I got nothing but great. It's a multitude of great advice I got from my father. Obviously, he was a strong influence in my life and a big part of my career, getting me to the big leagues. I can remember my father, he'd throw BP all day in the Little League distance when he was coaching our Little League team. But when we got older and played into the Babe Ruth League, and he hurt his arm, and he'd go out there and he'd take around 5 aspirin, and there was no Aleve then, and he'd go out there with a sore arm, and he'd pitch to my brother and I. So a lot of sacrifice from parents.
Vernon Wells.
Your dad was a minor league ball player, though. He was a pro player.
Yes, he was. He played for Johnny Keane, Ralph, in Houston, Texas, the Houston Buffs.
So 2 out, and here's Jason Bay.
I was just saying, Johnny Keane, there's a name out of the blue. I was involved with a big mess up with a firing of a major league manager. Johnny Keane got the job.
My dad loved Johnny Keane. Loved playing for him. Solly Hemus was on that team with my father, who became the manager of the Cardinals.
Right, and that's very true.
And another fly ball. And Torrey Hunter puts it away to end the inning. So the Mets leave 1, and they've been shut out through 6 by the rookie Chatwood. We say goodbye to Ralph Connor. Thanks for being with us, Ralph.
Okay, thank you for this wonderful Father's Day. And don't forget all you fathers out there, happy birthday.
That's an old line. by Audi, Truth in Engineering. Torrey Hunter leads off in the 7th inning, 6-0 Angels. Manny Acosta working his 2nd inning of relief. Hunter is 1 for 3 on the day, and he takes a fastball high for ball 1. It'll be Hunter, then Vernon Wells, and Howie Kendrick for the Angels in the 7th. Let's get done with the Angels today and then welcome in Oakland on Tuesday night. The A's have just won a couple of games from the Giants out west. In fact, they've won 4 straight. A team that was very reliant on their young pitching, much of which is now banged up. And for Met fans, the A's don't bring a lot of familiar faces to town. One that they do might be hurt when they arrive, and that's Josh Willingham, who just hurt his Achilles and may or may not play in that series.
And always a Met killer, even as a Marlin and a National.
The other familiar face from across town, of course, is Hideki Matsui, who is generally the DH for the A's, but is playing some games in the outfield in National League parks.
See, Cole Hamels goes for his 10th win tonight and today in Seattle.
2-2 to Hunter, and the breaking ball gets him. So back-to-back strikeouts for Acosta. 1 out in the 7th.
Well, Acosta came in throwing his fastball and got lit up, and now he's going to his breaking stuff, and he's got a good split finger, and he's starting to record outs.
So 1 out in the 7th. Now Vernon Wells has had a really good day at the plate. 2 runs scoring hits, and the only time he was retired, Reyes made a highlight reel play with a diving stop in the hole and a great throw to get him at first. It's probably the lone highlight for the Mets so far today, that play Reyes made. John Neese lasted only 4 innings plus today, allowed 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 8 hits.
Didn't Hamels, his last start, have a little back issue here late?
Yeah, but he said it was no big deal when he came out of the game.
So he hasn't missed a a turn. He's pitching tonight, this afternoon. Excuse me.
Going up against the Mariners and the former Met Jason Vargas. Remember Jason Vargas?
Yes.
He's turned into a pretty good pitcher in Seattle. Left-hander. Swing and a miss. 1-2 to Wells. So the breaking stuff treating Acosta kindly here.
And we showed you the standings in the East. The Phillies opening up a 6-game lead on the Braves. That's due to the fact that they've won 8 out of their last 10.
Well, there's a mixed message right there.
What is going on?
Must be a Lenny Dykstra fan or a Tug McGraw fan.
Oh boy.
Deep left. Back goes Bay. It's over his head and off the top and out of here. Vernon Wells continues his fine day with a home run, his 7th of the year. And the Angels now have a 7-0 lead, the 2nd home run off Manny Acosta in relief. A 3 RBI day for Wells as he just got it over the Great Wall of Flushing.
Fastball up, almost out of the strike zone. And a lot of hitters today, if they don't call that high strike, they take that pitch. Gare, that is a good pitch to hit. I'm sure if Ralph was here, Ralph would agree.
A lot of guys can't get on top of that ball, though.
That's because a lot of uppercutters. He got on top of that one.
Kendrick is 0 for 3. Well, that's the pitch that Scott Hairston hit for the home run in Atlanta the other night. That high fastball that he hit a rocket
a little bit lower. Was in the strike zone. That one was out of the strike zone. That was an old American League strike right there. In the old days when they had the different strike zones.
Losing the bat.
Heads up.
That goes about 20 rows deep out of the hands of Kendrick. We just hope everybody was paying attention. That may be the longest helicopter flip of the year.
That's why I never used gloves. I always felt I just didn't have a good grip. Even with pine tar, there was always movement in the glove. You know what? If that's your gamer, give me my gamer back. I'll give you one of my BP bats.
Well, they usually execute a trade, and so the security guard explaining it to the fan, they'll bring him another one.
Yes.
So Kendrick can get his game bat back. And this is the way it always works. The security guard takes the bat, everybody boos, they give it back to the player, they bring another bat, and everybody cheers.
They're giving him a bunch of grief too, and he's saying, "Come on, look at this guy, Nate." They're gonna give it back to him. That's the new bat. That's the new bat. I don't know how people don't get killed here or hurt worse. Look at that. Oh, it got him.
Yeah, she got a little jolt on the side, but she appears to be all right.
And she gets the bat out of it.
And she gets the possession of it. Good for her.
Thank goodness it didn't hit her in the head or face.
All's well that ends well.
Oh, Dad will take care of it on Father's Day. How sweet.
Just hurts a little, Dad. I'll be okay. Here's Howie Kendrick with a bat back in his hand and maybe a little more pine tar.
Ooh, good cut on that curve. It's the curve that's away and up. Good swing. Too much plate.
Our Trumbo on deck. And Acosta comes right back with a better breaking ball to strike out Kendrick. So that's 3 strikeouts now for Acosta. 2 out in the inning. Out of town scores brought to you by Hyundai. Join the movement at your Hyundai dealers. The Nationals' 8-game winning streak is in jeopardy in Baltimore. The Braves, who were beaten by the Rangers in 10 innings last night, up 3-1. The Marlins, under interim manager Brandon Hyde, looking to snap a 9-game losing streak in Tampa Bay.
Seriously, I'd like to know what the record is for the worst record in a month.
Well,
for a month.
I mean, the Mets have the worst modern day record, the 62 Mets. They were 40 and 120. You have to figure they had
plenty of bad.
One of the worst months somewhere in there. Trumbo hits one behind the bag at third for Turner. The long throw right on target to end the inning. The Angels have scored in 5 of their 7 at bats and lead 7-0 at the 7th inning stretch. Remember to get dunked. Go to getdunked.com. That's GETDUNKD.com. Father's Day at the ballpark. And the dads and the kids are out in force today. And some of them even got a baseball bat, even though it took a little pain to get it.
Speaking of fathers with their kids, my daughter's coming out on the July 4th weekend. Melissa, my middle daughter, she's coming out to visit me for 5 days over 4th of July weekend. I'm very excited about that.
That's a great smile, isn't it? Look at that. So happy to be with Dad. And the sights and sounds and smells of the ballpark from that perspective on Dad's shoulders, nothing like it in the world.
It was always great to be on Dad's shoulders, wasn't it?
And Lazy Mary is always great to dance to, even if you don't know the words.
Or you don't speak Italian.
Well, of course.
So. Off day tomorrow, Gary.
Well, the Mets need an off day right now. They've looked a little flat in this series. They got a great pitching performance out of Mike Pelfrey yesterday. Ran the bases well, but this off day couldn't come at a better time.
I agree. Tough road trip they had. A 6-4 road trip that could have been 7-3, ended disappointingly, but still 6-4 nonetheless. So coming home a little flat. Off day, much needed.
Josh Totally leads off in the home 7th inning. He's singled to left and drawn a walk. Tyler Chatwood working on a 3-hit shutout. Up over 100 pitches now. Well, our stat guy did some research. The worst month that the Mets had, any full month, I mean, April, they used to start later, so they were 3-13 in April. But their worst full month was July of '62. They went 6-23.
Ouch.
Now, there's always that Cleveland Spiders team that won 20 games and lost, what, 134? Because they had to start playing on the road because they didn't have a home stadium. We'll have to see how the Spiders did in their worst month.
They actually, in Stratomatic, the baseball game, they have that Cleveland Spiders team, I believe, in Strato.
Now, it doesn't count as a modern record because, it was before 1900. Bobby Caseva up in the bullpen for the Angels as Chatwood works in the 7th. And Totally takes a strike, 3-2. Well, Chatwood has been very impressive. Got into trouble early in this game, worked his way out of it, got himself a lead, and he's been sailing ever since. Even though he's given up 3 leadoff walks. And Totally on base again. So Josh 2 for 2 in a walk tonight, playing for the first time in 4 days. And both his base hits have gone to left field.
Well, it's the 4th inning. The Mets have had a leadoff runner on, and Josh stays nice and level, and that is not slapping that ball to left field. That is driving it. I hate when people say he slapped that ball to left. He did not slap that ball to left.
I say it all the time. And you hate it, I know.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's instant. It's Ruben Tejada, who had an infield hit his last time up, snapping an 0 for 16 skid. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Lucas Duda has come out on deck to pinch hit. There you see the numbers on Chatwood's pitch count. He's gone as many as 8 innings in a start, but never beyond 113 pitches. Toward the hole, Ibar on the backhand, and a nice toss for the force, and the relay not in time. Well, Ibar can make some eye-popping plays. He's had some interesting drops in this series, but that was a superb play.
He has terrific range, and he ranges to his right here. Beautiful backhand, gets rid of it quick. They almost turned 2.
Might have had him.
I think he beat it.
Very close on the turn by Kendrick. So here's Duda to pinch hit for Manny Acosta, who worked 2 innings in relief. Duda started at first base yesterday, went 0 for 4. But you see how he's done as a pinch hitter, 3 out of 7. Well, I think we have the answer for you, Keith. The 1899 Cleveland Spiders, who finished 20 and 134, their worst month was September, as you might expect. In September, the Cleveland Spiders went 1 and 27. So that's what the Marlins are shooting for with their 1 and 17 June. Pedro Beato up in the Mets bullpen.
Wow.
I wonder if they fired their manager during that month or if he resigned.
That was back in the days when William McKinley, I believe, was our president, 1899. Correct me if I'm wrong. It might be 1900.
He met with a difficult end.
He was one of, 4 presidents that were assassinated, correct?
Mm-hmm. Dissatisfied customer.
He's the one that sent Admiral Perry to Japan, opened up the Far East.
Now you're operating well beyond my ken.
He internationalized our foreign policy.
Tippecanoe and Tyler too. 2-2 to Duda, and he lofts one out to left. A lot of fly balls for Chatwood this afternoon, and Vernon Wells has that one for the second out. So 2-away. Pix 11's Mr. G. He's New York's go-to guy when it comes to weather. Stay out of trouble and stay ahead of the storms with Mr. G's forecast. Weeknights on the Pix 11 News at 10. The Mets, Mr. G, will be on the mound Tuesday night when the Mets start their series with Oakland. Dylan G will be going for his 8th win without a loss, something he should have had in his pocket in his last start, but the rains intervened in Atlanta and cost him a win. Reyes is 0 for 3 tonight. He's grounded to short and twice fly to center. And that one skips away, but Tejada holds at first, 1-1.
Well, California to California. Excuse, that's a fine. The Angels.
You've now done that once in each series.
I know.
Once in each game of the series.
The Angels got to feel pretty good about what they did to Reyes here. They've contained him. 0 for 4 the first night. 1 for 3 last night, although he was a big part of that win, scoring 2 runs and with 2 stolen bases.
So he's 1 for 10 in the series, and he hits one right at the second baseman Kendrick. So an 0 for 4 day for Reyes. And Chatwood is through 7, working on a 4-hit shutout. 7-0 Angels. Father's Day at Citi Field. It's been a fun time, except if you're a Mets fan. They're down 7-0 as we go to the 8th inning.
Well, Pedro Beato, his 23rd appearance, and since coming back from the DL has had a little bit of trouble. Brilliant the first month and a half of the season until he went on the DL. It's been a little bit of a struggle for him getting it back into that groove since coming off the disabled list.
Looked a little better in his last outing in Atlanta on Thursday. Tries to build off that this afternoon. Peter Borges, first man to face him.
Oh boy.
And that one clocked Josh Tolley. And he is hurting.
Oh, off
right off his foot.
Yep. Don't have a corn there.
Well, the shin guard covers the foot to a certain extent, but there's not a lot of protection, and that got him square on the top of the foot.
Need to be in a Knight's mail.
Yeah, but it might be hard to, get down a block and pitch in the dirt wearing full armor like a knight.
Think about those knights, though. They went to battle with swords and all that heavy armor.
How'd they stay on the horse?
Well, that's when men were men.
Well, catchers are still men. That hasn't changed. You've got to be a real tough guy to work back there.
You couldn't kill people from 15, 20 miles away. You had to get up close and personal. No, thank you.
Back in those Lance days. 1-1 to Borges, who's 2 for 3 today. Single twice, scored a run.
Maces and Morning Stars. Good sinker today, Pedro. He's been a little bit overthrowing that fastball, and as a result, his fastball has lost its sink, straightened out. Now he's not overthrowing, and he's getting that sink we like to see.
It's always interesting to watch rookies who've had that first flush of success struggle a little bit and see how they respond to that. Borges lifts it to right, and Beltran is over. 1 out of the 8th. Beato was so good early on, dominating stuff, and then went to the disabled list, had a little bump in the road, and now trying to fight his way back to where he was in April. Here's Jeff Mathis, who hit a home run down the left field line, his second. Bobby Caseva up in the Angels bullpen again. Tyler Chatwood has already thrown a career high 117 pitches, so he's probably done for the day with 7 scoreless innings. And the curveball in for a strike. 0-1 to Mathis. And Alberto Callaspo has come out on deck to pinch hit for the Angels. Bat for Chatwood. Here's Callaspo, who's been battling a hamstring injury, hasn't played in the field in this series, but pinch hit last night. And Tyler Chatwood has everything to be proud of today. Coming to the big town and throwing 7 scoreless innings. Reyes waits on the ground ball and throws out Mathis 2 away. So Beato retires the first 2. And now Alberto Callaspo, the former Diamondback, will come up to bat. Callaspo, who came to the Angels from Kansas City, is the line on Chatwood.
A good one.
Well, he issued 3 leadoff walks, but was equal to the test each time. Had to battle the first couple of innings with his command and gave up a couple of hits. Looked like he might be ripe for the taking, but the Angels got him some runs, and he was terrific. Meanwhile, John Neese struggled today for the first time in ages. Went 4 innings plus, allowed 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 8 hits. DJ Carrasco retired the 3 hitters he faced. Manny Acosta pitched 2 innings, gave up a couple of solo home runs. And now Beato working in the 8th. Callaspo yanks it foul. While the Mets stay home to play Oakland, the Angels will be heading down to Florida to play the Marlins. They started out this road trip in Seattle, came to New York, they go to Florida, and then they go back to LA to play the Dodgers.
4 corners offense.
4 corners road trip.
Yep.
I mean,
was it 8,000 miles plus for them?
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Who writes these schedules? 2-2 to Callaspo. I mean, I guess they could have sent them to Nova Scotia. Then it would have been a little longer. But we don't have a big league team there yet. Could have sent him to Puerto Rico instead of Miami, right? We've done that, right?
Yes. Tokyo.
I remember a number of years ago when the Expos played some home games in Puerto Rico. They had a trip where they had to fly from San Juan to Seattle.
Oh.
Can you imagine how long that flight is?
Oh. No thanks.
That's going to be like 8-9 hours.
4 time zones.
Right. From Atlantic time to Pacific time. There's a call, 3rd strike. Beato has a 1-2-3 inning as he gets Callaspo looking. To the bottom of the 8th we go. Mets looking to break up the shutout, down 7-0. tour of Citi Field is brought to you by Citi. What's your story? Citibank can help you write it. Outside where the apple resides, and inside where the fans have been enjoying a beautiful Father's Day. Out to the Acela Club in left field, where there's always a good meal to be had. Got the Italian flags flying today. They had a little Italian celebration before the game today. Big Apple Brews out in center field. Bobby Caseva, who pitched an inning last night, back out there this afternoon for the Angels to pitch the bottom of the 8th.
He was called up on June 15th this season.
Keith Grill, where business I hope is booming.
They're working it. It's a good burger.
Looks like the crowd has thinned a bit, so if you want to get online,
well,
to get one of them, now's the time. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, if you've been, you've been looking at that line and saying, can't wait that long, now's the time. You have to pick your moment. Get that good next burger. Justin Turner leads off the home 8th. Justin has one of the 4 Met hits this afternoon. Double to right back in the first. That's at first and second and nobody out in the first inning. Eric Ibar started a nice looking double play, and Tyler Chatwood was off and running. Chatwood went 7 innings, allowed no runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a chance for his 4th major league win. Beltran and Murphy to follow Turner here in the home 8th. And there's a strike from Caseva, 1-2. And Turner lines one right to the third baseman. Is Turris, 1 away.
Well, that's always a sign it's just one of those days. Bullet. Hang with them. It's a loud out, though.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Beltran, who's walked twice and struck out 0 for 1. Carlos 3 for 10 in this series, including that long home run in last night's game. The Angels got 4 scoreless innings out of their bullpen last night. Looking for a couple of innings today behind Chatwood. We mentioned that Chatwood got beat up in his last start, and they gave him an extra day of rest, switching his spot with Herron in the rotation, and that appears to have paid off for him. 2-1 to Beltran. So another day when the Mets were trying to climb back to 500, and they will be hard pressed to do that today.
Wonder if there's something psychological going on there.
Well, they got there for a day. They got to 500 on Wednesday.
Well, I shouldn't say getting to 500, getting over 500.
And they were right on the verge on Thursday with a 2-run lead in the 9th. But that got away, and they're chasing it again. On 3-1, Beltran takes high, and that's 3 walks now for Beltran this afternoon.
And a 7-0 lead. That's a no-no. Get your manager upset.
So 1 out and 1 on. Here's Daniel Murphy, who's 0 for 3 today, 2 for 12 in the series, and just 3 for his last 24 overall.
Playing behind Beltran, of course, with the big lead.
And Murph gets under one to right field. Hunter shading his eyes. That's the Sunfield out there. And that's the second out. That's why you bring the sunglasses.
Yeah, that's why he's got 9 gold gloves.
Well, he made that transition last year from center field to right field, and in this ballpark, right field is definitively the Sunfield.
We have seen over our years up here in the booth here, you much longer than me, the radio booth, day games with fielders out there with their sunglasses on their hats, resting on the brims of their hats, and they're going, there you go.
Like that.
What is going on?
That's Eric Ibar, the shortstop.
You know, if you don't think you need them, you look at the shadow on Ibar at shortstop. It's going out to right field, so the sun's over his right shoulder. So if you don't need the glasses, just fold them up, put them in your back pocket.
I think there's a style component involved. Although having the flip downs on top of your hat,
I've not seen that.
That's different.
Yep. There you go.
That's a little more what we're used to. Vernon Wells with the rims match the hat.
It's very stylish.
Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, out to talk to Caseva with 2 out and a runner at first and a 2-0 count to Pagan in a 7-0 game. Interesting time for a conversation. Pagan today 0 for 2 and a walk, 3 for 9 in this series. You know, Kevin's not here today. You know why, right?
Tell me.
Because he's studying up.
I thought maybe his the dog died or something.
No, the dog didn't die.
I'm only kidding.
No. What it is that Kevin is studying up because tomorrow night he'll be broadcasting the Cyclones game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, with Bobby O.
So he doesn't get. Oh, so he gets his off day on Sunday. Okay.
And there's
That's
ball
fair.
4 and Pagano's on, so 2 walks in the inning. I mean, do you know how hard it is to study up for those Cyclones games? I mean, most
It's
of
not
those
easy.
kids have just come out of the draft or they were down in extended spring training. Nobody knows their names.
Yeah, but he's got Nets, roster. I'm sure. I've got the bios, and you got computers now. You can mine information. Your book, I love your book. What's that book you have? Well, it has all the
Prospect Handbook.
The Prospect Handbook is outstanding. That's one of the best baseball books there is.
Here's Jason Bay, who's 0 for 3 today. And he takes the slider for a strike. Anyway, that's what Kevin's doing today. He's studying up. And so we've been very fortunate to have Eamon McEnany filling in for him.
You think he's watching?
Kevin?
Kevin, if you're watching out there, we miss you.
If he's not watching live, I'm sure that he's DVR'd the game and he'll be watching at some future time. Scott Downs up in the bullpen for the Angels. He's been their primary 8th inning guy, and with a 7-0 lead, Mike Scioscia's getting him up just in case. Caseva ahead on Bayo in 2, and Jason takes it wide.
Nice cool breeze all of a sudden, huh? Shadows here.
It's just a perfect day to be at the ballpark. Not too hot.
It's a perfect day to be a player and being. Never fails when you go into these bullpens.
2 out, 2 on, 2 and 2 to Bay. And he goes down swinging to end the inning. So Caseva walks a pair but fans Bay to get through the bottom of the 8th. On to the 9th we go. 7-0 Angels. Drive one at your Tri-State Ford dealers today. Pedro Beato pitched a 1-2-3 8th inning, goes out there for the top of the ninth. So things looking a lot brighter for Beato these last 2 appearances. Myceris Turris will lead off, as Turris got the Angels started today with a pop fly single to lead off the first inning against John Neese, and everything proceeded downhill from there for John. His Turris 1 for 3. He's also been hit by a pitch, and he scored 2 runs.
Well, an impressive start for Tyler Chatwood, the rookie. Complete command, a little bit of trouble early, but pitched out of a couple jams. And Jonathan Neese, just one of those days. He's been so good, he just did not have it today.
Mets have been on such a great long run of good starting pitching. Dickey had a rough go of it in Atlanta the other night, and now Neese with an uneven start. But over these last 24 games, that has been very much the exception. In the series against the A's that starts on Tuesday night, Dylan G will go on Tuesday, Dickey goes Wednesday night, and then Chris Capuano Thursday afternoon. And then the Mets fly to Texas, Dickey's old stomping grounds, where I guess he will not get a start against his original club, the Rangers. Or will he? No, he won't.
I will not be on that trip. I'll be watching you guys in the heat of Dallas-Fort Worth.
Arlington, Texas.
Oof.
It's a little steamy at times.
It's been in the 100 degrees there, has it not?
And we have 2 day games in Texas, Saturday and Sunday.
And you have an off day there, do you not?
Well, yeah.
Production-wise.
But the team is playing Saturday in the daytime. There's ball 4 to Turris. So the first base runner given up by Beato. And then we get a day off in Detroit before that series begins at Comerica Park a week from Tuesday.
That's a tough road trip, playing 2 good teams in the American League West and Central.
And the Mets will probably face Verlander in that series in Detroit.
Boy, has he been good.
He's pitching today at Coors Field, which is a test for any pitcher, but it's hard for anybody even to make contact against Verlander the way he's been throwing the ball. Let's see, 1-0 Tigers at Coors Field. 0-1 to Ibar, and he takes it wide. Ibar hit the 3-run triple in the second inning that turned a 1-0 game into a 4-0 game.
That's the big hit of the day right there, as Neese was 1 out away of getting out of a bases loaded jam.
Torrey Hunter waiting on deck. The Angels have 11 hits this afternoon. The Mets have 4. Mets have only been shut out 3 times this year. They'll be trying to avoid that when they come to bat in the bottom of the ninth. The Angels, who've pitched very well this year, have 5 shutout wins. Double play ball. Tejada to Reyes and to Murphy for the 4-6-3 double play. Let's turn their second double play of the day. Mets have picked up the pace in turning double plays.
Yes, they have. They don't have a trouble turning double plays up the middle here. The trouble that they've been having is in the corner positions, but that's turned around also.
Well, they had a 3-6-3 last night, started by Duda, and a 3-6-3 today, started by Murphy. So 2 out and nobody on. Here's Torrey Hunter, who's 1 for 4. And he takes a strike. In the bottom of the ninth, the Mets will have 7, 8, and 9 in the order coming up. Toley, Tejada, and the pitcher spot due. Ball and a strike to Hunter. Torrey Hunter's had a good series, 5 hits and 12 at bats. Sometimes his offense gets overlooked. His glove has been so good. All those great catches he made when he was playing center field. robbing people of home runs, most notably Barry Bonds in the All-Star game. Remember Bonds picked him up and threw him over his shoulder after that?
Yes.
Mets come up in the bottom of the ninth, down 7-0. By tri-state area Volkswagen dealers, and that was the big hit by Eric Ibar in the second inning. Brought home 3 runs with a triple against John Neese to make it 4-0 Angels, and they have not looked back. 7-0 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Bobby Caseva, who pitched the 8th, stays on to pitch the 9th. Josh Toley's been on base 3 times in a row with 2 singles and a walk. He has been the bright spot on the Mets offense today. He has half their hits. Ruben Tejada on deck, and then the pitcher's spot for the Mets in the bottom of the ninth. And Toley hits one out to right field. It's been a busy day for Torrey Hunter out there. 1 out. That's 11 outfield putouts for the Angels outfield. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Ruben Tejada, 1 for 3. Had an infield hit in the 5th. And Jason Friday has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher. Well, that's been the happy part of the day here at Citi Field. It has been a beautiful Father's Day. And I hope all the families on hand have enjoyed celebrating Dad and his day. Ball 1 to Tejada.
Well, you can see right there inside, tied him up.
That's your Adorama freeze frame. Adorama, located at 42 West 18th Street in New York City. Adorama, more than just a camera store. 1-1 to Tejada.
Shall we apologize to Josh about that?
What's that?
We had to get that one in, so we had to show him an out.
Well, we could have done it earlier on his 2 base hits, but that's okay. He's 2 for 3 today. He's not going to be unhappy with us. Tejada pulls one foul, and it's 1-2. Cincinnati beat Toronto today 2-1 behind Bronson Arroyo. So the Reds starting to get some pitching and starting to play a little better. Now 3 games over 500. Started the day 3 games out of first in the Central.
Garrett, you got a little busy afternoon ahead of you, don't you? You got family coming over and all that?
Kids. It's Father's Day.
That's right. I don't. My kids are on the other side of the country.
Well, your kids are such big kids, you have grandkids.
That's true. They are as far west as San Diego and as far east as Colorado. Actually, my youngest daughter's in St. Louis right now with her mother.
It's a lot of National League cities you got covered.
My kids are National Leaguers, trust me.
And they're trying to dull the line between the leagues, but you're having nothing of it. It's like Ralph said, his day they never even thought about playing games against the American League. All-Star game and World Series, that was it. And Tejada fighting to stay alive. Now coming up right after this on Pix 11, it's Smash Cuts. And over on SNY, Lincoln Postgame Live. Of course, Lincoln Postgame Live on SNY after every Mets game. Tejada hits one out to right field. Hunter chasing it, and it drops for a hit. So Ruben Tejada has his second hit of the game. A one-out single in the ninth.
So that little day off to Ruben was good tonic for him.
Tonight, get up to speed on what's going on from around the corner to around the world. Watch Jim Watkins and the Pix 11 News tonight at 6 and 10 on Pix 11. Now Jason Friday will pinch hit. Jason has appeared in this series as a pinch runner, but his first at bat of the series.
Well, bar a double play, Jose Reyes gets another crack to get a base hit. Oh, a rare 0 for 4 for Jose. Was he 1 for 11 or 1 for 12 in this series?
1 for 11.
So that's a good job by the Angels. They cooled off the Major League Baseball's hottest hitter.
Toward the hole, and Pridey's got a pinch single. Well, back-to-back hits for Tejada and Pridey. And the Mets have 2 men on in the ninth. And Reyes gets another turn at bat. So Mike Scioscia has to decide how far he wants to go with Bobby Caseva. You saw Scott Downs getting his arm loose again in the Angels bullpen. Reyes 0 for 4 today. There's Downs. And the Mets got 2 for a run on Friday night. Reyes with his 0 for 4 today at .339 for the year. Started the day leading the National League in batting. And he takes wide for ball 1. When the day began, Reyes was 12 points up on Matt Kemp for the batting lead. And Jose takes a strike, 1-1. That's a strike, 1-2.
That's that borderline low strike that home plate umpire Mike Everett has been a little inconsistent. He's called that might have sunk low. I think it did, but he's been calling that pitch a strike. He's been a low ball umpire.
So now it's 1-2 to Reyes, and Jose bounces one through the hole, and that's a base hit. Tejada will be waved around third. The Mets break up the shutout. Pridey goes to third ahead of Hunter's throw. Reyes has an RBI single, and now it's 7-1. So 3 straight hits, and the Mets snap the shutout. Reyes' 29th run batted in of the year.
Well, gets his 5th at bat, his last crack, thanks to his teammates, and there that 0-for is off the board. You mix in that one hit, the average at this point now, Jose, with how many at bats does he have? Around 250,
almost 300,
almost
over 300,
over 300, and you know you don't fluctuate that much.
So now Justin Turner will try and keep it going. Turner's 1 for 4, doubled back in the first and lined out his last 2 at-bats. First and third and 1 out. Reyes takes off and they'll let him go. That's defensive indifference. No stolen base. So that takes off the double play possibility. And the crowd's starting to get into it, hoping for an almost impossible 9th inning comeback.
But it's been done.
Hit sharply, but right at the second baseman Kendrick. That'll bring in a run, but more importantly, that's the second out. Friday comes home to make it 7-2, but now the Mets are down to their final out of the day. And Carlos Beltran will be the batter. Beltran's walked 3 times today. Struck out his other at bat. He's 0 for 1. That's a welcome in the Oakland Athletics on Tuesday night. Dylan G makes the start in Tuesday's game against lefty Josh Outman. And that's lined to right, a base hit for Beltran. That brings home Reyes with the 3rd run of the inning. And now it's 7-3. So Carlos Beltran drives in his 44th run of the year. And with things starting to get a little tighter, Mike Scioscia makes his way out to the mound. And I think we're going to see Scott Downs come in to try and get the final out. So Caseva unable to seal the deal as the Mets have put up a 3 spot in the 9th inning. Down to their final out, trying to keep things alive with Daniel Murphy coming up. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Metro PCS. Right now, get $50 off any phone when you add a line for just $35 a month. Only at Metro PCS. Try and get the final out of the day.
Well, the veteran Downs, 24 relief appearances. He has been pretty much lights out in interleague play. 27 consecutive interleague appearances of 31 1/3 innings without a run. That was broken last night.
Gave up a run-scoring double to Ronnie Polino in the opening game of the series. Scott Hairston will bat for Daniel Murphy to give the Mets a right-handed bat against Downs. So Hairston, who's had 1 at bat in this series, struck out as a pinch hitter on Friday night against Downs. But Scott's bat has been heating up of late.
Playing behind Beltran, conceding a stolen base. If he wants to take it, it would not be a stolen base.
Mets have 3 runs home in the 9th, but down to their final out. And Hairston takes a strike, 0-1. Bobby Caseva worked an inning and 2/3, allowed 4 hits and 2 walks to keep this game alive.
Not a good outing. 6 base runners.
Pinch hitting numbers for Hairston, who had a 3-run bomb as a starting player in Atlanta Thursday night. And that's off the plate, a ball and a strike. If Hairston keeps it going, Angel Pagan would be next.
You never know.
Hairston with a big hack, fouls it back, and it's 1-2.
Fans are into it. They were clapping on that. My favorite. What do you call that?
Diddy. 1-2 to Scott Hairston. And the breaking ball, and he just stays alive, fouling it off his foot. Mets have climbed out of a 7-run hole this year, but not in one inning. For that game against the Pirates that Belfry started.
The Angels want to put this away and get on an airplane and go to the southeast. The third corner of their jaunt there.
Right now, everybody's rushing in to play the Marlins. They're down 2-1 in the ninth at Tampa Bay today. 1-2 to Hairston, and the breaking ball, and he just stays alive. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Drive one at your Tri-State Ford dealers today. Well, Hairston barely able to foul off those last two pitches. Somebody can't watch. Downs again, ready with the 1-2. And Hairston takes low and inside. So Scott giving a good accounting of himself here. Hanging in against Scott Downs. Trying to keep the chain moving. That's 4 hits and 3 runs home in the inning. Seventh pitch of the at bat. And Hairston bounces one to the left side. Ibar running around it. Close play, but he got him. And the ball game is over. Eric Ibar almost took too long, but he throws out Hairston. And the Mets' belated rally falls short in the ninth. 3-run score in the ninth inning. But the Angels take the rubber game of the series as John Neese has a rare bad outing, and the Angels take advantage to win it 7-3.
Well, Neese came in with a 3-game winning streak and pitched in last 6 starts, an ERA of a little over 1.50, and just didn't have it from the get-go. Couldn't get out of the gate. The big blow was the bases-loaded triple off the bat of Ibar in the second inning. And let's take a look at this play. Did he beat it? I thought he beat it. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, safe. Big time.
Saved by a considerable margin. Mike McClinsky, the rookie umpire, made the incorrect call. Hairston got the call right. He was signaling safe. Game summary brought to you by TD Bank, America's most convenient bank. Tyler Chatwood, 7 scoreless innings for his 4th win. John Neese went 4 innings plus, his first bad start in more than a month, as he falls to 6-6 on the season. The Mets now 2 games under 500 as the Angels take 2 out of 3 in this series. 7-3 the final. The Angels win it. We'll come back with more from Citi Field on Father's Day in just a moment.